Hi there, this is the Heir of Carthage, bringing you an Empire Total War online commentary video. I'm playing a 2v2 with Pule 230688, also known as BW Angelos. And on Empire Total War, I'm known as BW Major TG Gaston. Let me introduce you to my army here. I've got 2 units of Garde du Corps Heavy Cavalry, a General's Bodyguard. I have 4 units of Swiss Line Infantry, and 2 units of Scot Infantry located on the flanks, with 4 units of riflemen out front. And Angelos is making flanking moves on our enemies. His army's out here, and as you can see, he has the exact same army that I do. We use the same build. He gave me the build because I'm pretty new to the game and I'm not real sure what kind of units to be using yet. So as you can see, our opponent in command of the Russians has brought out some cavalry. They're cuirassier heavy cavalry, and had he been able to strike a bit quicker, he probably could have hurt Angelos' riflemen pretty bad, but now he's allowed them to open fire and he's going to take heavy losses. 1 unit of them routs, and he's now going to run his riflemen away, and he's going to end up catching these cavalry with one of his units of Scot Line Infantry, which is very good in a melee fight. You really don't want to start a melee fight with Scot Infantry. They'll tear you up bad. Well, I guess unless you have the right infantry, but as far as cuirassier are concerned, you don't want to get in a fight with Scot Line Infantry, which is exactly what he does. And Angelos is going to form them into a square. Sorry, my camera work isn't the best. I'm a little bit new to the camera. I'm trying out different means of controlling the camera and haven't really decided which I like the best. So I may not get you the best angles, but I'll do my best to get you some close-ups. So you can see another unit of the Russian cuirassier have routed, and the others aren't going to be doing any better than their predecessors. You can hear all the horses whinnying and neighing because they're being killed. So Angelos has defeated the Russian heavy cav there, and now he can reposition himself to attack the remaining Russian forces that are in the woods. Our opponents are camping on the hill, and so we're trying to make flanking maneuvers and watch for opportunities to be able to dislodge them from the hill. As you can see there, the Russian was moving up 2 units of skirmishers, and back there I'm pointing out the cavalry that the Austrians have. You can see his line infantry, and you can also see a line of stakes there, which means he has light infantry, which are currently hidden from my view. And so I should be expecting Windbush Jägers, which are one of Austria's best units. They're excellent skirmisher units, and they can sneak forward while hidden. And sure enough, there they are, coming into view in front of my skirmishers. Now I hope that he keeps marching forward and I get the first shot. Getting the first shot with your skirmishers is very important in this game, as that it could be decisive in the end, and likely usually is decisive from what I hear. So here's my riflemen. They're lined up, and they're waiting to get the first shot in on these Windbush Jägers. Of course, you can see the terrain there. I may not be getting the best shots off. I might be hitting the ground with some of my shots. But if I'm hitting the ground, then chances are he's probably hitting the ground with his shots as well. Yep. So, as you can see, my graphics on this game aren't quite as good as some of the other people who post. That's just because my graphics card isn't like super high-end. And eventually I'm going to upgrade my graphics card. But for now, I'm real happy with it. It's an ATI Radeon 4350, 512 megabytes of RAM. This game's probably best run with a gigabyte of RAM in your video card, and plus I only have 3 gigs of RAM for Windows, and a little more would probably be also helpful. I can run the game at higher graphics than you see here, but I've chosen this settings basically for the best performance. Now you can see here my Garde du Corps are making a flank attack on those Windbush Jägers. So not only did they not get the first shot, he left his skirmishing line open to a cavalry attack, which is a bad idea, because skirmishers aren't good at fighting off cavalry, and especially heavy cavalry. So my cavalry are going to make short work of his Windbush Jägers here. And you can see in the background that Angelos is also struck at his Windbush, and he's also making strikes on the Russian riflemen. Yeah, on this game you really can't leave your skirmishers exposed to a cavalry attack like this from the flanks, because you'll get crippled very quickly by cavalry. There's 2 units of Austrian line infantry coming out of hiding in the woods, and he's moving them forward, and I wish he would have kept moving them forward because my skirmishers would have made short work of them. But he's smart enough to know not to do that. So our opponents just made a big mistake there with their skirmishing infantry. They really shouldn't have allowed them to get hit by our cavalry like that. They should have moved their line infantry forward with their skirmishers, and then this would have been a much more even fight. Windbush Jaegers are better than the riflemen that we have. However, Russia's riflemen aren't probably as good as United Province, and also Russian line infantry can't really shoot it out with the line infantry from United Provinces. Russian line infantry is better suited to melee attacks. Austrian infantry, I'm not really sure yet because I haven't played the game enough. I imagine that they could probably stand toe-to-toe with my men for the most part. But now that I have skirmisher superiority, that's not really going to happen. So I just skipped out on a little bit of the video. There's really nothing happening. Angelos is engaging the Russian, but I'm going to show you mostly on my front here. I'm not very good at covering all the action quite yet, but as I get better, I'll do better. So here he's marching his line infantry forward. I kind of thought he was going to do a bayonet charge, but he doesn't, and my rifles are going to kill a lot of his men with that initial volley. And then he's also come into range of my line infantry, which is opening fire, and his line infantry is also opening fire as well. But since they've been depleted by my rifle units, I definitely got the better of this situation. So yeah, this game's pretty cool. I like watching the units shoot it out. It's neat. Honestly, I prefer melee fights better. Not particularly on this game, because the whole idea of musket warfare was big in this game. But yeah, I like melee fights real well because of Rome Total War. But I really do enjoy watching the units shoot it out like this. It's pretty cool to see all the smoke and hear the musket pops and stuff like that. So here he's bringing in his heavy cavalry. I believe they're cuirassiers. And he's made a charge into my line, which is pretty foolish. But he doesn't really have a lot of options left because I've so badly depleted his line infantry and destroyed his, well, not just me, Angelos and me have worked together. I doubt I would have won this without his help. So, yeah, he's charged into my infantry. I've formed them into squares, and that's going to be really bad for him. Real bad. His men are going to be demoralized from getting shot to pieces, and then when they drive in here and hit my squares, they're just going to get torn up. My infantry is actually pretty good in a melee fight. Scott infantry has a real strong melee attack. Swiss infantry has a real good melee defense. So both of them are going to be quite good in a melee fight. I don't know the stats on Austrian line infantry, so I couldn't tell you how that stacks up. Angelos brings in a rear strike with his cavalry there to help me finish these guys off. The majority of the Russian forces are in retreat at this point. Plus, he probably figures he needs to help me out since I'm a pretty big noob. Yep, so I just routed another one of his units of cavalry there. And I'm going to bring my cavalry in to help out my main line here in a moment. Now, he's formed some of his units into squares at this point also, which is good. When your unit is at square, it's pretty good for a melee fight, the way I hear it. So here's all the action going on. You can see people fighting it out. It's pretty cool. This is my kind of fight right here. I just wish that I had some Sacred Band right here. That'd be great. Of course, the Sacred Band wouldn't do so well against Windbush or line infantry, but right here they would excel. But hey, that's just me dreaming. So yeah, most of the Austrian units are in retreat now, and the forces they have left are going to be pretty easily mopped up. Yeah, I've been real impressed with Empire Total War so far. Other than a few glitches, I mean, it's really a very neat game. I've heard a lot of people not like it, and that's fine, that's their opinion. But overall, I think that if CA would take the time to finish patching it and fix it up, that it would really be a masterpiece of a game. The graphics are really good, and as you can see, this isn't even the highest settings, and it still looks good. It's a neat time period for warfare. But there's just a few bugs in it that are kind of annoying, and I really wish they'd fix it. So I was kind of disappointed when they announced Napoleon Total War as a standalone title, because they really haven't properly fixed this game. But in any case there, I'm going to have to let you read the results screen. I'm making this commentary within Windows Movie Maker, and I cannot read the numbers. So I'll just leave this screen up here for you to get the results. Yeah, because I don't remember. And you can also see our opponents there, but I can't because the screen's too small. So I hope you enjoyed my first Empire Total War video. Hopefully this will get better over time as I get better at the game. And yeah, so I'll try and get you another video